Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukatali.
And a very good morning to you. This is Newsline, live as always from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And amongst a sea of controversies and where the people's rights tend to be affected most of the time, on our program this morning we are joined by the chairman of the Consumer Protection Council, Mr. M. Shahid. Very good morning to you, Mr. Shahid.
Good morning.
And thank you very much for being on our program. There's a lot of consumers, us out there, who feel that various things are not happening. When I told some people that you are going to be on a program, immediately a number of people said, ask him about the rice and the prices and so on. And another one said to me, what about all this rice that had to be destroyed because it was unfit and so on. But tell us, what does the council do as opposed to the authority?
Well, under the Consumer Affairs Authority Act, number 9 of 2003, there are two bodies that are created under the Act.
Right.
One is Consumer Affairs Authority, the other is Consumer Affairs Council. Of course, the Consumer Affairs Authority enjoys the maximum rights and obligations in terms of the law,
Right.
whereas the Council, of which I am the chairman, we are entrusted with the task of fixing maximum retail price and also looking to anti-competitive practices, or rather unfair trade practices.
Right.
When a complaint is made to the authority, and the Director General of the authority shall refer such complaints if he deems fit that it has to be looked into by the council.
I see. So you're checking. So it's you, your outfit, your council, that actually sets the retail prices, the maximum.
That's true.
And whose job is it to ensure that that is enforced? Who enforces that?
It should be enforced by this Consumer Affairs Authority.
Right.
And they have the powers under the Act. As far as we are concerned, if there is a price imperfection or if there is a manipulation of prices of a commodity, which has been prescribed as an essential commodity under the Act or under the Gazette notification, and such investigation shall be made by the authority, and if the authority finds that there is a need for the maximum retail price, and they refer this matter to us for us to investigate and report as to whether there is a necessity or need to fix a maximum retail price.
Now, tell me, everyone talks about the rice. So now rice is, the government has set maximum prices. Is it truly available everywhere or only through the government outlets?
It is available everywhere at the moment because up to now, I think I got the report 2 days back, and we have got about 50,000 metric tons of rice have been imported by the traders who were authorized to import since the duty has been waived up to 15 rupees. So there is abundance of rice available now. And the government also has decided to import about 200,000 metric ton of rice.
Right.
So I don't think there is any scarcity or shortage in the market right now.
Now, when they talk about these maximum prices that that the retailers can sell it at, the charge quite often is that rice is not really, it's low quality, and okay, so you're selling it, but it's low quality. And is this true?
To the best of my knowledge and information, I don't think. Perhaps there may be isolated instances where consumers may have come across low quality rice.
Yeah.
But
what do you do when you find somebody selling this?
But they can immediately make a complaint to the Consumer Affairs Authority with regard to the quality, if they find the quality of the rice is low.
Right.
And the Consumer Affairs Authority will immediately take action because now we have these the hotline 1977.
1977,
1977.
1977. 1977. That's the number. That's the hotline for the Consumer
Affairs Authority.
Authority.
And they will immediately act upon that.
I see. Now, can you tell us sort of the number of traders that have been found fault with, or who you all have detected selling above the prices?
Well, I'm not in charge of the section, but of course I know for a fact that there are complaints and day in and day out, and we have about 250 officers in the authority who immediately act upon such information. And day in and out there are a lot of traders who have been raided and they have been taken to
and what action can these errant traders expect?
Well, there is a fine, and if suppose the rice is spoiled, if they have sold a spoiled rice, and they will find out from where they purchased it, and then we will take action to completely out of the market, the said product.
I want to ask you, you say that there is a fine. Is it enough of a deterrent, or I mean, what else can you do to make sure that these traders comply?
So far, I don't think that we have received any complaints with regard to the fine.
Are there repeat offenders? I think
that of course the sections deal with regard to stringent punishment, where they will not repeat it over and over again.
So like what? If you find a guy who's done it 3 times, what happens to him?
There are perhaps there are sections which the authority files actions in the court.
I see.
And if they have done it more than twice over, and their trade license too can be cancelled.
I see. So you do need a trade license to trade in whatever.
Yeah, whoever trader who is in the trade, he has to obtain a trade license. So
is that true of all products, or is it just?
Well, there are specified goods under the Act, under Section 18(1), which have been declared as essential commodities by the Minister in consultation with the authority. And so those are the items which really focus the attention of the authority. But of course there are general provisions where with regard to the rights of the consumers, that they will have to know the price of a commodity or good which they are purchasing. The price must be displayed on the item percent.
And is it the price on the item that the cashier is supposed to charge? What happens if it's happened to me? So there was a price on a particular item, and when I got to the counter, they charged me more money because apparently I'd picked up old stock and it had the old price on it. Well, I stood my ground. Am I right in standing my ground?
You are correct.
They must sell it at the price.
They cannot say this is the old price and this is the new price.
Right.
If there's a new price, immediately they must display the new price on the good.
Yeah. What happens in items, Mr. Shahid, where the item actually says MRP so much, and it's actually sold at much higher than that? What happens then?
Oh, that's an offence under the Act.
That is an offence under the Act. Do you have many complaints where the traders have threatened the consumer with dire consequences if they were to actually complain? Do you know how it?
I'm not aware of it, but only thing is if such complaints are made to the authority, and if they can establish that such threats and intimidations, and definitely the authority will take necessary steps. And also, I think as a consumer, he has a right to go and make a complaint to the police, because intimidation and threat to a consumer is an offence even under the penal code.
Right. Are you a lawyer?
Yes.
Right. There you are. That's good to have them, because you can explain things better than to us. What happens to, in actual practice, what will happen? The consumer buys, let's say, a bottle of fizz, a drink, and inside for all to see is obviously some impurities, and that's not what you expect in a bottle of whatever. In actual practice, what happens? Whose fault is it? Is it the manufacturer? Is it the is it the retailer? Who is it?
If it is the retailer, of course, the complaint must be made against the retailer as well as the manufacturer. Of course, the consumer has a right to go and make a complaint, and there is a remedy in law with regard to such instances where the consumer is affected by the fault of a trader or a retailer or a manufacturer. All of them are concerned, and all of them can be taken to task.
I see. At the moment, what is the task that you all are working on?
Well, in the recent past we have been working on rice, because as you started correctly, that it has become a serious issue that there was a shortage in the market.
Yeah.
In fact, Mr. Faraz, you know that there was a serious drought in the country a few months ago, and as a result we could not produce sufficient rice. According to certain statistics, even in northwestern province, 800,000 acres to be cultivated, but they were able to cultivate only about 80,000 acres because of the drought.
Yeah.
It is so in some other areas as well. So I think these millers, according to the Minister of Agriculture, perhaps I saw it in the newspapers, I'm not taking responsibility, but of course he has said so. The rice millers, the rice millers, are responsible for this artificial shortage, according to him. And what he's trying to say is they foresaw the shortage in time to come because of the drought, and so they have staked up their paddy in their granary for the better opportunity. And as a result, there had been an artificial shortage, but of course the government had acted immediately, thanks to Mr. Karunanayaka and Minister of Trade and Commerce, Mr. Rashad Badiuddin, and they acted very fast. And the Minister of Finance reduced the duty imposed on import of rice, and as a result many traders came forward to import rice, and we have plenty of rice in the market as it is. So I thought
but all the selling at the minimum price, or
well, we immediately fixed the minimum price in order to assist in order to support the consumers. Yes, there's a maximum retail price, and of course, you know, we fixed 72 rupees for Nadu and 80 rupees for Samba imported prices. But 2 weeks after, in fact, I was faced with another situation where the local manufacturers, or rather the millers of Rice Millers Association, and came and made representation to us that they find it difficult because they have purchased the local paddy at a very excessive price. I mean, there's a fixed price by the Paddy Marketing Board. They have fixed rupees 38 as the maximum minimum purchase price. And so as a result, the paddy was in scarcity and the paddy price went up. So the millers came and complained to me saying that, so they have purchased it even at rupees 50 per kilogram. And as a result, they will not be able to sell the locally produced rice, Nadu and Samba, to the same price as importers. So taking their representations into consideration, and in fact they have not only made representation to us, and they made representations to His Excellency the President as well. And even the President also wanted to look into their grievances, and so we have now revised the maximum retail price from last week in respect of locally produced rice. That is Nadu at 78 rupees and Samba at 90 rupees.
So wherever you want to buy this from, whether it's your local little grocery man around the corner, or whether it's in a supermarket or a chain of supermarkets,
yes,
you
of
ought
course,
to pay the same.
After the announcement of maximum retail price for rice from 8th of February, I think the hunting number of complaints and telephone calls to the authority, according to the Director Price and Management, and they are really acting on those calls and they are checking up. And in fact, we have our investigators who visit all these markets. There are about 7 markets in, I think, in Colombo.
Right.
Peta, Narahan Pita, Ratmalana, Nugegoda, Villavatta, Dematagoda, Borilla. They prepare a price list every day. They go physically and personally check the price, and of course
how do they do that? Do they identify themselves first as officers of your organization, or?
But they don't do that first because they are investigating to this.
Right. So
they have to follow a chart,
right,
in order to sort of identify, find out whether the price whether price you call it manipulations, or the fluctuations in the market. So they take note of all that. So we know that the prices after the announcement of the maximum retail price, it is being sold at the maximum retail price. But there again, there are complaints in certain other areas far from Colombo that they have not enjoyed the privilege given to them by the maximum retail price.
Right. Well, on that note, talking about prices and controls, let's take a short break. Don't go away. Don't go away. Do stay connected. This, after all, is Newsline. See you in a minute. And welcome back to Newsline, live from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo, and today, this morning, in the company of the Chairman of the Consumer Protection Council, Mr. M. Shahid. Mr. Shahid, I've got a question from a viewer, and he says, small shops that sell rice, do they also come under this trader category?
Of course, yes, because you correctly used the word, I hope, although I am the Chairman of Consumer Affairs Council, you said Consumer Protection Council. I always have interpreted after I assumed duties as Chairman.
Right.
I am not only looking into the protection of consumers alone. In fact, when you say consumer affairs, it covers all, the traders, manufacturers, it's rather wide.
Yeah.
So we have, when we fix the price, maximum retail price, we take into account the cost and the profit to be made and the transport expenses, all that. And that is so, even the retailers will have to sell it at that price.
Right. Well, that's good. But now then, can we go on to this business? You know, you go into any shop, whatever it is, or sometimes you see it on TV or in the papers, and manufacturers are claiming various wonderful things that are supposedly contained in this product. You know, they'll say this vitamin, that vitamin, this is good, this is whatever, so it's never bad. But how true? How can the consumer know whether this is all true? The claims made there. Under whose authority would that come?
It is basically knowledge. Perhaps you should know what you are really buying. And
but you know, when they say 60% of it is vitamin C, your daily dose of vitamin C, for example. I don't know that. I'm a consumer. I'm looking at the packaging and, you know, I'm thinking, oh, that's nice. Oh, okay, I'll try that. Or, you know, it'll say, oh, this cream will make you fair forever and a day. And it's got no side effects. How do I know if it's all true?
Well, of course, it is on the manufacturer's right to print the ingredients of product on the package.
Right.
So it is presumed that they have given the correct assessment or the correct size.
Do you have a division within either your organization or the authority that checks claims made? You know, I might say this is the fastest telephone in the world, and it's made here in Sri Lanka, and so, you know, these are claims. Whose job is it? Is it Do you have like advertising standards within your organization?
Yes, of course, yes, because we have the advertising standards. That is called anti-competitive practice or unfair trade practice. And if a complaint is made, suppose say that even recently there was a case where two competing battery selling companies, they came and complained that one of the companies said this is the last selling battery, largest selling battery in the country. But the other company came and said, no, it's not so. They are not the largest selling. Right. And we are the largest selling.
There you go. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about.
So they have made a complaint, and we have looked into those matters. And then thereafter, they themselves agreed that they will not repeat it. So if such advertisements are brought to our notice, of course, we have right to stop them. Here we can make interim order by directing the parties concerned or the importer or the distributor in the country to stop it immediately.
Have you thought, Mr. Shahid, of making a proposal based on something like the Advertising Standards Authority, which would be, for example, in the past, this country and its consumers have suffered incredibly because of it. For example, there's this famous charge card or debit card that went down the pan, taking with it, I think, 26 billion rupees of the depositors. Now, they were making all these claims and saying we'll pay you 25% and 28% and whatever percent. Now, if you had advertising standards and somebody wanted to make these claims, and especially when it came to that sort of thing, then if you had an advertising standards authority, they would be able to say, well, really? Tell us about this. What's the hidden...
This, Faraz, I must thank you, because our minds work in the same line. Perhaps when I dealt with certain issues like this, I have always felt that there must be an advertising authority, or there must be a separate division, which has come from your mind, and then of course it has been aired now. And I think the authorities or the minister concerned should give mind to his mind in establishing such an authority, which is very, very important today.
The other thing I find...
For the simple reasons that people are being misguided today by advertisement.
Well, yes, because that's why I was looking at the paper. I wanted to put you on the spot here, but I can put you on the spot anyway.
In fact, it has been brought to my notice by certain parents, the children, having looked at the advertisements, they insisted that they need this.
Yes, that's right.
In fact, but they are not sure whether it is the same thing which has been advertised.
Well, the other thing, of course, is, financial services. The papers are full about it. There is no warning. It's inviting you to take out loans and so on. But I think it's essential. I know that certainly in Britain you do have that, and there is a sort of a warning. It's almost like a health warning on the packet of those things that you're not supposed to do. Health warning. Like that. Shouldn't they say, your property is at risk of being lost if you don't keep up the repayments. Now, it's quite easy to say, well, actually, you don't need to be told that. But in the West, they always carry that little warning. It says, if you take a loan and you take a housing loan or against your home and you don't repay or keep up the repayments, you stand to lose your property. I'm just talking, that's just one example, but there are many such warnings.
It's a welcome move, I suppose, if it could do that. I think about a few days back I received a complaint from a customer who has gone to a leasing company and leased a vehicle for 5 years. And he has been given a price, monthly payment, and then thereafter he said he had got the money in his hand, so he went to the same company and said that I'm going to pay the full amount. So they have charged him exorbitant, a very huge amount by way of interest, though he'll retain the money for only for 3 months. So I'm really thinking whether I have the power to deal with such a situation. in terms of services provided by authorities.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking into it because...
As a lawyer, do you think that that might be tantamount to an unfair contract?
It's not it's not a fair contract because you know that if you go to obtain lease or finance or loan, there are financial institutions which provide such services, but the consumer or the client who goes there doesn't look into those conditions that are embodied in the agreement, and that is mostly prepared. Although we talk about Sinhala is our official language, perhaps if you look at all these corporate sector financial institutions, all the agreements are prepared in English, and none of the 90% of the people in the country will not
I'm so
English.
glad that you're mentioning this English business, because believe it or not, and you can check this out, the SEC website carries the new proposed act, the draft new SEC act, and wait for it, it's only in English. Now, that's a problem. SEC, you need to look at it. That is a problem because it's only in English. Well, it was when I looked at it yesterday in the morning. It was only in English. Now, that's a problem, isn't it? Because
that's a problem. 90% of the people in the country speak Sinhala and Tamil, and they do not understand what are those conditions. Perhaps when the financial institution files action, when they come to court, then only they realize that they have signed all this.
But there are some astonishing. I'm just looking at this thing. I'm not going to let you see it, but it says unbelievable holiday offers. Right? Okay, with a certain credit card. Okay, 60% off, and then it gets different brands. Then it tells you booking period is that amount, and the travel period is that amount. And it says offers valid for full board and half board basis, blah, blah. And then it says, and this is the wonderful bit, it says online reservations only, and then within brackets, and I think this is the small print, it says limited rooms available. So it might be a hotel with 500
and also
rooms.
They say conditions apply.
That's right. So this whole blessed thing is only designed to catch my attention and get me to make that call so that somebody, a super salesman on the other end of the phone, is going to sell this thing to me. So do you think that's what I mean about having advertising standards?
Well, of course, what I'm saying is that if it is not in conformity with the advertising terms and conditions, and if it is misleading, and if a customer has been taken for a ride by this kind of advertisement, they have always have the avenue to come to the Consumer Affairs Council through the Director General of the Consumer Affairs Authority, and they can make a complaint, and we can look into unfair trade practices by these errant organizations.
And to give more life to your council and to the authority as well, you need the full participation of members of the public.
Of course, yes. And we are in the process of amending the Act by giving more rights to the consumers, where they can participate in protecting their rights. From the experience we gained over the past few years, after the Act was promulgated in 2003. I think the amendments have been prepared, and I hope that once the amendments come into force, and the consumers and members of public can actively participate in protecting their rights with regard to consumers.
Wonderful, because as President Barack Obama said as he left office, he said the Constitution is just a piece of paper, and it comes to life with the active participation of the people. And on that note, Mr. Shaikh, thank you very much for being on Newsline, and we wish you and your council and authority all the very best in trying to uphold the consumers' rights. And if we in the media can do anything to help you on that along that path of progress, we're only a phone call away.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And that's it from Newsline, helping you to be connected. And we'll look forward to seeing you same time, same place, tomorrow morning. In the meantime, take care, have a great day, and God bless.
News First Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.